Welcome to the Parsha Themes Shir. It's Parsha Va'eschanan, and it's Shabbos Nachum, the Shabbos of consolation, which is obviously the Shabbos right after Tisha B'Av, which was yesterday. And the Shir is dedicated for the Refuah Shalema of Moshe Shimon and Leah Esther Chaya Halevi. Okay, so we start by talking about not waiting for the ideal moment. The verse states, "Ve'etchnan al Hashem, ve'esahi leimar," and I pleaded to Hashem at that time, saying. So Moshe recalls that he pleaded with Hashem at that time to be let in, to be able to go into the land of Eretz Yisrael. So Rav Naftali of Ropshitz explains for us the deep meaning of these words. With this, he taught us that a person should never say, right now my mind is not in the proper state for prayer, so I will not pray now. Instead, when I am more settled, I will pray as I should. Rather, at every moment, one should pray according to the circumstances of that very moment, whatever that moment may be. Accordingly, Moshe Rabbeinu here is teaching us to daven regardless of what's going on at that moment. Even if one has a lot on his mind, even if he feels exhausted or overwhelmed, even if the conditions are less than ideal, he should nevertheless turn to Hashem ba'es hahi at that time with all that is going on and all that he is dealing with. Moshe is teaching us not to wait until we find the perfect environment, until we've had a perfect night's sleep, when everything is going smoothly, until we find the right shul with the right rabbi and the right chazan and with the thermostat set to the right temperature and the right people are sitting next to us. If we wait for the ideal, pristine conditions to daven, then we'll never daven, because the conditions are never perfect. We always have some ache or pain, some form of aggravation, something going on that bothers us, something that makes davening a challenge. We are to daven ba'es hahi, right now, at this moment, under the current conditions, as far from perfect as they are, and to do our best. Rav Naftali proceeds to note the verse later in our parsha, "Ubikashtem misham es Hashem elokecha u'metzasa," and you shall seek Hashem your God from there, and you will find him. We are to seek Hashem misham, from there, wherever we are, from our current circumstances. We must never make the mistake of thinking that we cannot turn to Hashem or commit ourselves to his service under our current circumstances. That we need to wait until our lives improve, until we are more focused, until things calm down, until this problem is fixed, and that issue is resolved. Because the truth is that in life there are always problems that have yet to be fixed and issues that have yet to be resolved. We are to serve Hashem ba'es hahi and misham, right now where we are, under our current conditions, with everything going on. And if we search for Hashem sincerely in our current circumstances, then u'metzata, we will find him. The Ishbitzer Rebbe similarly suggests that the verse, "I pleaded with Hashem at that time, saying," is hinting to an emphasis on the value of investing in prayer even at that time, namely, even when the prospects of being answered are dim and daunting, for every prayer counts and every prayer matters. On Shabbos Nachum, which is this Shabbos, we are reminded by Moshe's incessant petitioning and endless beseeching that although our prayers have not yet been fully answered, we should not despair, because no prayer is in vain. Ultimately, prayer, when it seems like all is lost and Hashem isn't listening, is the brand of prayer that will precipitate the rebuilding of the Beis HaMikdash, the Holy Temple. Regarding the establishment of the Mincha prayer, the verse states, "And Yitzchak went out to converse," in Hebrew lasuach, in the field towards evening. That's in Bereshis. Upon which the Gemara in Brachos expounds, conversation means nothing other than prayer. However, at that time, Yitzchak was not only davening Mincha, he was also praying for the return of the Beis HaMikdash. The Gemara in Pesachim observes that each one of the Avos, the forefathers, referred to the Beis HaMikdash by a different name. Avram called it a mount, Yaakov called it a house, while Yitzchak called it a field. As the verse states, Sion shall be plowed for a field. The Rav notes that Yitzchak prayed for the Beis Hamikdash specifically toward evening, when darkness is descending upon the world, and his prayer was a siach, a conversation which has the numerical value of 318, one more than yush, meaning despair, which has the numerical value of 370. Yitzchak was teaching us that it will be specifically the prayers from the brink of despair, as ominous clouds are gathering overhead, that will lead to the rebuilding of the Beis Hamikdash. May it arrive speedily in our days. Now, look how far you've come. Hashem declined Moshe's plea to enter the land of Israel and instead commanded him to climb to a mountain peak east of the Jordan River and look upon the land. We must wonder, was this not cruel, forcing Moshe to see the beautiful land which he loved and aspired to live in? His life mission was to lead Bnei Israel into the land, and he was being denied the opportunity to see that mission through to completion. Why was Hashem adding insult to injury, so to speak, by telling Moshe to climb up a mountain overlooking Eretz Israel to see the land to which he was barred from entry? There is also something else peculiar about this command. Hashem told Moshe to look Yama v'tzafona v'semana u'mizracha, west, north, south, and east. Moshe was standing on the banks of the Jordan River, just east of Eretz Israel. We understand that Hashem wanted him to look west, north, and south to see the full expanse of the land of Israel. But what did Hashem mean when he told Moshe to look east? He was standing east of the land. Why should he turn around and look to the east? Perhaps we can suggest that Hashem told Moshe to turn around to see and appreciate how far he's already come, alongside his understandable angst over his unfulfilled dream, his being unable to proceed into Eretz Israel. He was also to feel gratified over all that he had accomplished, all that he had done for Bnei Israel, leading them when they were downtrodden, persecuted slaves in Egypt, and bringing them to where they were now, on the precipice of the Promised Land. Hashem told Moshe to look upon the land that he would not reach, but also to appreciate the long journey that he completed, how much he had done. This is a lesson for all of us in all areas of life, in a person's professional life, family life, communal life, and spiritual life. He will never achieve all that he wanted to achieve. The Promised Land is not going to be reached. Dreams and ambitions will remain unfulfilled, but it is so important to not look only upon that which was left accomplished, but also to turn around and appreciate all that was accomplished. Even as we acknowledge our shortcomings and how much better we could be, we must acknowledge our successes too, and take pride in the journey we've taken and all that we've achieved. Now, the daily struggles. Va'atem hadvekim b'Hashem Elokechem chaim kulchem hayom. Very famous posuk verse. And you who cleave to Hashem, you are alive, all of you, today. So Rav Elimelech of Lishensk takes note of the word hayom, today, at the end of this verse. He explains the significance of this word in this context based on Hillel's timeless teaching in Pirkei Avos. Do not trust yourself until the day you die. Rav Elimelech writes, even if a person sees that today he has conducted himself along the proper path, scrutinizing his actions with the utmost care in order to bind and attach himself to the Creator, may he be exalted. He should nevertheless not trust that he has become a righteous person except on the present day in which he stands. On the next day he must begin anew, seeking his exalted greatness to cling to him. May he be blessed and exalted. Moshe was telling Bnei Israel that the fact that they faithfully cling to Hashem, Hayom, does not guarantee that they will do so the next day. Each day presents new spiritual challenges. The struggle never ends. Whatever it is we're struggling with, we never reach a point where we can say, now I'm good, I'm fixed, I don't have to worry anymore. If a person ever feels this way, now he's fixed and does not need to struggle, then he becomes more vulnerable. Whether it's a struggle to eat properly, to speak properly, to avoid inappropriate online activity, every day is going to be a challenge. A person can and should be proud of each day's successes, but with the understanding that the struggle continues the next day. One of the important aphorisms used in addiction therapy is day by day, taking it one day at a time, focusing on today's struggles without worrying about tomorrow. If we're honest with ourselves, we will recognize that we all have addictions of one kind or another. We all have bad habits and bad patterns of behavior that we've struggled, mostly unsuccessfully, to stop. We have a great deal to learn from the world of therapy, and one of those lessons is that when it comes to our bad habits, our goal should be to manage, not to conquer. We must never delude ourselves into thinking that it's done. I'm good to go. I'm all fixed. The goal of Dveikus, clinging to Hashem, to the right behaviors, to the proper habits, is one which we must struggle to achieve Hayom, each day anew. As gratified as we should be over our level of Dveikus today, we must remember that the struggle begins once again tomorrow. The Gemara in Brachos also learns from this verse that the wicked, even in their lifetimes, are considered dead, whereas the righteous, even in death, are considered alive. God is the exclusive source of life, hence life by definition is connection with God. A life of disconnection from God is pseudo-life, life devoid of all but its most superficial, illusory shell. That's from the Hasidic masters. Now, true individuality. And you who cleave to Hashem, you are alive, all of you today. Again, the same verse. So one might think that the more we are devoted to God, the more our personal individuality disappears. But the Torah teaches us here that the opposite is true. Our true individuality depends directly upon the depth of our attachment to God. What we normally mistake for our personality is really our secondary animalistic side. Since we share the same animal drives with the rest of humanity, the personality born of these drives is at best a variation on the common theme by which everyone lives. Thus, the apparent individuality of this aspect of our personality is in fact an illusion. In contrast, since God is infinite, the avenues through which his divinity can manifest itself through us are also infinite. Thus, it is only our divine personality that makes us truly unique. It follows that the more we allow the animalistic side of our personalities to dissolve as we draw closer to God, the more we allow our unique divine personalities to shine forth. Now, Torah is our life. V'nos elachas min ha'arim ha'el v'chai. So cities of refuge were established so an intentional murderer might flee to one of these cities in order that he might live. Moses concluded his first address by reminding the Jewish people that their entry and continued residence in the land of Israel depends on their loyalty to God and his Torah. Moses then designated 3 cities to the east of the Jordan as cities of refuge, as instructed by God, for unintentional murderers. Someone who committed murder unintentionally had to remain in his city of refuge. He was not allowed to leave, for by doing so he would expose himself to the vengeance of his victim's relative, who was legally allowed to kill him. The unintentional murderer was not allowed outside his city of refuge, even to save someone's life. Similarly, the Torah is our city of refuge. Inside the Torah and the lifestyle that God prescribes for us, we are spiritually alive. But if we venture outside the confines of the Torah's lifestyle, we expose ourselves to the risk of spiritual death. This is true even if it seems that we can save someone's life by making some compromise in the Torah's directives. The Torah is synonymous with life, So only through loyalty to its principles can we both maintain our own spiritual vitality and preserve or enhance the spiritual vitality of others. Now the heavens and the earth. So the pasuk, the verse says, Ki Hashem hu Elokim b'shamayim ima'al v'al ha'aretz mitachas. You will know today that Hashem is God in the heavens above and the earth below. Surely we know that the heavens are above us and the earth is below our feet. Why couldn't the Torah, whose every word and letter is measured, simply say in the heavens and the earth? But here is a lesson in how we are to approach the heavenly and earthly aspects of our own lives. In all that pertains to the heavens, to our spiritual achievements, we must look upwards to those greater than ourselves and strive to emulate them. But as regards the earth, our material possessions and attainments, we must look below us to those who have less than we do and be grateful for what we have. That's the Lubavitcher Rebbe. Now, no echo. Esed vorim velo yosef. These words Hashem spoke with a great voice which was not again to be heard. The Hebrew phrase velo yosef, which can be translated which was not again, can also mean which did not cease. Thus there are various meanings to this verse. One meaning is that the revelation at Sinai was a one-time event, never to be repeated in history. That's Rashi and Ibn Ezra. Other meanings are that it was an extremely powerful voice that spoke without interruption, unlike a human voice which must pause for breath. That's the Targum and Rashi, that it did not cease, in the sense that all subsequent prophets prophesied from that voice, or in the sense that it did not confine itself to the holy tongue, but reverberated in mankind's 70 languages. That's the Midrash Rabbah. That it did not repeat. In other words, that it had no echo. That's the Midrash Rabbah. Now the Lubavitcher Rebbe asks, what is the significance of the fact that the divine voice that spoke the Ten Commandments had no echo? Often one may feel challenged by something in our lives or in our world that seems unresponsive or even resistant to the mission entrusted to us at Sinai. It may appear that one or another of Torah's precepts does not fit in with the prevalent reality. So the Torah tells us that the voice which sounded God's message to man had no echo. An echo is created when a sound meets with the substance which resists it. Instead of absorbing its waves, the substance repels them, bouncing them back to the void. But the voice of the Ten Commandments permeated every object in the universe, so any resistance we may possibly meet in implementing the Torah is superficial and temporary. Ultimately, the essence of every created being is consistent with and wholly receptive of the goodness and perfection that its creator desires of it. Now, the one. So it says in the first pasuk of the Shema, Hashem Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. Meaning, at the end, the Lord is one. So God is one, and His unity is unlike any other unity in existence. He is not one as in one species, which includes many individuals, nor is He one as in one body, which includes various parts and dimensions. Rather, His is a unity the likes of which there is no other unity in the world. That's Rambam from Mishnah Torah, the laws of the fundamentals of Torah. And that's the end of Parsha Themes for this week. We'll be, Ezrat Hashem, God willing, we'll be back next week with Parsha Eikev. And until then, wishing you a very good Shabbos and a very good week ahead. Shalom.